A struggling dad saved a woman's dog from traffic, never knowing she was a CEO who fell for him. The rain had just started to fall when Daniel Jenkins sprinted across the cracked sidewalk, gripping the small hand of his 5-year-old daughter, Lily. They were late again. The rusted blue Honda he borrowed from his brother had broken down 2 blocks from the daycare. Daniel didn't have the luxury of Uber rides or extra minutes. Every second counted when you were living paycheck to paycheck, especially when there wasn't a paycheck in sight. He wasn't always like this. Just 3 years ago, Daniel had been a rising mechanic at a local auto shop, saving for a house with his wife and building dreams for their daughter. But dreams have a way of crumbling when cancer enters the picture. His wife, Emily, was gone within a year. And now, it was just him and Lily, trying to stay afloat in a world that never stopped demanding more. They reached the crosswalk near Elm Street when Daniel saw it. An off-leash golden retriever, bolting into traffic, panic in its eyes. Cars screeched. Horns blared. Without thinking, Daniel let go of Lily's hand and lunged into the road. A van swerved past him by inches, and for a terrifying moment, he was sure he'd be hit. But he emerged from the chaos, soaked and panting, with the trembling dog in his arms. "Are you insane?" A woman's voice pierced through the sound of rain and traffic. "That could have killed you." Daniel looked up to see a tall woman in a navy coat, tears in her eyes as she rushed toward him. "He just ran off, I didn't even see, oh God, thank you," she gasped, dropping to her knees to embrace the dog. Daniel set the retriever down gently and turned to check on Lily, who was watching wide-eyed from the curb. "It's okay, sweetheart," he called. "Daddy's okay." The woman looked up at him again, and something flickered in her gaze. She was clearly wealthy. The designer heels, the sleek black car double-parked nearby, the confident way she carried herself. But in that moment, she looked at him like he was more than a soaked stranger. "I'm sorry," she said, standing. "I was just scared. You saved Max. I can't thank you enough." Daniel nodded awkwardly, brushing water from his face. "No problem. Just didn't want him getting hurt." "I'm Claire," she said, reaching out. "Claire Donovan." "Daniel," he replied, shaking her hand. "Daniel Jenkins. And that's Lily." Claire crouched to smile at Lily. "Your dad's a hero, you know." Lily beamed, clinging to Daniel's leg. Claire glanced back at Daniel, her expression softening. "Are you okay? You're bleeding." He looked down. His jeans were ripped at the knee, blood mixing with rain. "Oh, it's nothing. I've had worse." But Claire saw more than the scrape. She saw the worn-out shoes, the fraying jacket, the weariness in his eyes. Something inside her shifted. "Can I offer you a ride somewhere?" she asked. Daniel hesitated. Pride was a heavy thing. "I'm just taking Lily to daycare, then heading to, well, I'm looking for work." Claire raised an eyebrow. "What do you do?" "I'm a mechanic." "Was. Shop closed down a few months ago. I've been picking up odd jobs when I can." She nodded slowly, then reached into her purse and handed him a card. "I don't usually do this, but come by this address tomorrow morning. I want to repay you properly. Please." Daniel stared at the card. It read Claire Donovan, CEO, Donovan Motors. He blinked. "You run Donovan Motors?" She smiled. "Guilty. And you just saved my best friend." The next morning, Daniel stood in the glass lobby of Donovan Motors, gripping Lily's hand tighter than ever. He felt like he didn't belong, surrounded by suits and polished marble floors, but something about Claire's voice had stayed with him. Warm. Genuine. Claire greeted him personally. "Daniel. I'm so glad you came." They sat in her office, Lily playing with Max on the rug nearby. "I looked into your background," Claire began. Your old supervisor spoke very highly of you. Said you were one of the best he ever had. Daniel's cheeks flushed. Thank you. I want to offer you a job, she said. Full-time, benefits, daycare assistance, and housing support. He stared at her, stunned. Why? I mean, I just saved your dog. Claire smiled. You didn't hesitate. You put yourself at risk for someone else. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. Emotion rose in his throat. He hadn't felt seen, truly seen, in so long. Claire continued, softer now. I lost my husband 3 years ago in a plane crash. I know what it's like to wake up with a child depending on you and no idea how you'll make it through the day. Daniel looked at her, and for the first time in a long time, he felt understood. The weeks that followed brought more than a steady paycheck. Daniel found a new rhythm, one that didn't include late notices or impossible choices between rent and food. Lily laughed more. She drew pictures of him fixing cars and holding hands with Claire. And Claire, she didn't just fade into the background. She visited the shop, brought lunch, played with Lily. Slowly, gently, something bloomed. One evening, months later, Daniel stood outside the daycare, holding a hand-drawn card from Lily, stick figures of him, Claire, and Max, with a heart above their heads. He smiled as a familiar car pulled up, and Claire stepped out. Dinner at my place, she asked, eyes twinkling. Only if I get to cook this time, he replied. They laughed. Max barked. Lily ran to them both, arms wide. In that moment, Daniel realized how one act of kindness, one selfless decision, had rewritten the story of his life. And it all began with a dog, a dash into traffic, and a heart willing to risk everything. Because sometimes, when you're at your lowest, fate sends you a chance not just to survive, but to truly live again.